So today we have a little bit of interesting news from Poland, and this is on the backdrop of the Russian-Ukraine war, and it is about a change in the constitution of the Republic of Poland. And we're going to get into the details. So basically what this means is, if you don't support Ukraine, that means that perhaps you support Russia. And if you don't support the Ukrainian side or support the Russian side, then the government gives itself the right, at least they think they do, to take your stuff. And by stuff, I mean property, as in real estate. And it's not exactly clear, and I think this is on purpose, but also things like your bank account, perhaps your cars, your money. So let's say you donated $1 to, I don't know, you donated $1 to some activist group in Russia. The Polish government deems that activist group as working against Ukraine or as supporting Russian aggression, and they'll take your entire bank account because you donated $1 to this cause. Or maybe you said something in support of the Russian side, or maybe something that could be construed, or the government can construe as anti-Ukrainian, anti-state of Ukraine, anti-Zelensky regime, and they will say that, oh, well, now we will take your house because you used your house as a shelter to write anti-Zelensky regime comments in, and they're going to take your property. But let's take a look at the details. Okay, so this was first proposed for the 1st of December 2022. The first part, so it's not just one part, but the first part concerns the public debt. It's something about capping the limit of the public debt, but let's move on. The more interesting part for us right now is, here we go. What this means is, up here, is something like the threat to national security. So what it says here, in the event of an armed invasion on the territory of Poland, or the armed invasion on the territory of another country that causes a direct outside threat to the Republic of Poland, or its public order, property, or to the public order, the property that finds itself, that is on the territory of Poland, could be taken over by the state treasury by the rule of law, and without compensation if it could be considered that this property, by property, they mean property as in real estate or as in financial property like a bank account, that is used or could be used in any form to finance or support in another way, in a formie, this invasion, or any act that is related to this invasion. This is what could happen. So they could take away your property or finances based on not only if the country, Poland itself, is attacked, but if another country. It doesn't say, by the way, it does not say if this country has to border Poland, right? Is it Ukraine? Is it Belarus? Is it Lithuania, right? Is it one of the other neighbors? It's just any country, just a country. So what? It could be Mali. It could be Papua New Guinea. It could be Paraguay. It could be Canada. It could be Spain. It could be any country, because in this, under the proposed changes to the Constitution, it's just any country. Now, I'm sure that most of you are aware that there has not been world peace at any time, I believe, in the last 10 years, maybe even 20 or even longer. But I recently read an article, and it sounds right that in the last 10 years, or maybe it was 20, that there has not been not a single day of peace in the world. So that means that during the last 10 or 20 years, however long it was, that every single day of the last 10 or so years, there has been an armed conflict in some country in the world. So therefore, this change to the constitution could be used by the government at any time, and that's exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want. They will just use whatever pretext they want. There's an armed conflict somewhere. Oh, okay, this person we don't like supports this conflict. Oh, you donated $1 to you donated 50 cents. You used $1 from your bank account to help this group that we don't agree with over in whatever country. We're going to take everything you have. You donated $1, we'll take, I don't know, let's say $20,000 from you. Whatever you have in that account, we'll take it. That's what's going on here. This is what it is as far as I can see here. And by the way, it doesn't even, it gets worse, because it doesn't say that a person or the funds or the property of a person that have been proven to be used to support armed conflict in another state that threatens the national security of Poland. It's that could be. So it's like a pre-crime now. If the government deems that you could use this property, right, to help or support, not even help, just support an armed conflict in another country, they're going to take your stuff. They're going to steal your stuff like the thieves and bandits they are. Okay. Let's see. Let's continue. Okay, and here it says point number 2, quite short. The property that it has been taken by the state treasury is to be given to help people, or donated to help people who are affected by the effects of this armed invasion, whatever armed invasion that is, right? There's an armed invasion anywhere at all times somewhere in the world, right? And in this case, obviously, they are thinking about Ukraine. Number 3, okay, and there you have it. So the government of Poland is preparing this this change in the constitution, which will allow it to silence its critics on the basis of supporting an armed invasion. It doesn't even have to be an armed invasion of Poland, nor even of Ukraine. It can be any country, just any country in the world. That's what it says here. It says on the territory of another country that which causes direct threat to the national security of Poland or the public order of the Republic of Poland. Okay, so there you have it. And overall, it's just very interesting to see how this escalation continues. Just recently, for example, the Polish government confiscated the bank accounts and the property of the Russian embassy in Warsaw, Poland. Before that, what happened was, the situation with Kaliningrad being renamed officially according to the Polish state, and even Google Maps and I think another company went along with it right away, and in the territory of Poland changed the name to this Polish name, which, by the way, Kaliningrad always had this Polish name. However, it's not really widely and certainly not officially used in Poland. Before that, again with Kaliningrad, this is now several months back, there was this attempted blockade of Kaliningrad, of which Poland was a big supporter. Poland is trying to build up its military and using some sneaky means of, in terms of recruiting people, sometimes forcibly into the military. There was another amendment made to the law in Poland, and it concerns basically martial law and the recruitment of civilians into the military. And it's just interesting and quite crazy to watch all this escalation, and it's coming all the time from NATO. And they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing this depleted uranium that was sent by Britain recently, I think in late March, to Ukraine, which, by the way, is a horrible weapon. You can see the effects of that after the US invasion of Iraq. Go and check that out. Just Google depleted uranium Iraq and see what kind of horrific effects it has. And now they've sent it to Ukraine. Apparently Russia blew up a warehouse that contains some of this depleted uranium, and it sent a cloud of radiation over Ukraine and even parts of Europe. In Poland there was a sharp increase in radiation. I'm not sure if those levels were particularly dangerous or not, but there was a sharp increase in earlier this month in May 2023 of radiation, especially around eastern Poland bordering Ukraine. And you know what, the state institutions just told people it's raining. Yeah, they spit in your face and they tell you it's rain. There's a radioactive cloud and they tell you, yeah, the rain did that. So it's just interesting seeing all this escalation. Speaking of which, sure, you guys are well aware that there was a small incursion/invasion into the Belgorod region of Russia that borders northeastern Ukraine. And now you have American and NATO weapons in Russia targeting Russian villages, towns, and cities inside Russia. That's absolutely wild. And just think about that. A year ago, could you imagine this situation, that there are NATO weapons and NATO proxy troops in Ukraine? And by proxy, I mean, even if they're all Ukrainian troops, and by the way, you should see what kind of interesting characters they sent on this invasion, on this incursion into Russia. I think it was some those neo-Ns basically. And apparently, but Ukraine doesn't have a problem with neo-Ns, right? Everybody knows that, just like it doesn't have a problem with corruption, and just how Ukraine is a beautiful democracy, even though just a few years ago it was the most corrupt country in Europe. But never mind, don't think too much about that. They're sending these people in there. And what I was saying about these Ukrainians being proxy troops is that, look at the way NATO talks about Ukraine. They say it's just a matter of time before Ukraine joins NATO and Ukraine joins the EU. All the massive, unprecedented amounts of financial and material support that Ukraine is getting from NATO. They're basically an extension of NATO, and now they and the NATO weapons are on the territory of Russia, not even Ukraine, in Russia. So this situation is really getting out of hand, and I don't see it de-escalating anytime soon. They're just going to keep stepping it up until who knows what happens, but it's not looking good.